Good afternoon, respected sir and dear friends. Today, my presentation is on the Victorian literature as a queen of literature. I had personified the Victorian literature as the queen because it is a queen because the same thing or the same virtues we can see in the Victorian literature other than many of literature that we are having. The points that have been covered in this presentation is the timeline of literary ages, which conclude the whole literature, major events of the history, Victorian periods, its writers, its important works, marked innovations, and the Gothic paintings. This is the timeline of British literary history. The first is Old English period, which we know from the Beowulf, then the Middle English, then Renaissance by Shakespeare, Neoclassical Age, Romantic by obviously in our previous presentations we had talked about Frankenstein, the Victorian period, that is the publishment of Oliver Twist poem or a novel of Charles Dickens, then the Edwardian period, Peter Pan with this, Georgian period, modern period, and postmodern period. Here I had marked the important events in throughout our history. All the presentators has already presented the characteristics, so I thought to pick up the major events of each literary period. So for the Old English period, obviously, if we just imagine the Old English period, we just got into our mind the term Beowulf. In Middle English period, we find that there is enhancement in language also, in grammar, and in terms of vocabulary also. In Renaissance, the most famous art was the painting of Mona Lisa, which is done by Leonardo da Vinci, and is another famous painting was The Last Supper. Then we come to the Neoclassical Age. We gone through the Rococo style of painting. Rococo style of painting just delivers the type of nature, the calmness of nature, the sweetness of nature. Another is the Romantic Age. Romantic Age depicts to the turn to nature, as in the earlier literary ages the literature was going on through the peoples, through the diversity, through social criticisms also. But in a Romantic Age, the Romantic Age, we can say Romantic Age is equals to the age of nature also. The amazing poet we also have, which is William Wordsworth. The another is Victorian Age. Victorian Age has the element of the Queen Victoria, but the main important or invention of Victorian Age, we can say it is a telephone. Another, the Edwardian period. The Edwardian period is signified by the World War I, and that follows the Georgian period. Georgian period also have the same significance as the earlier literary periods also. It is known by the industrializations of the England. The another one is the modern period. Modern period has the printing press, which is very important for our literary period. The most significant or amazing or the favorites of almost all the literary students is the postmodern period, and here is the visual art, especially surrealism and Dadaism. Salvador Dali has the most significant figure of this art also. It depicts the way, if we just read a book, we got an inscriptions of those characters in our mind, but these types of visual arts are arts which we just see, and it is type of a quiz. We cannot find that what that picture is trying to saying to us, so it is very difficult to signify what the painting is saying to us. And this is the timely events of all the literary periods. When we came to the Victorian period is a scene and like between the romanticism 18th century and 20th century. The novel as genres rose to the enlightenment and entertainment of the people of society. It is also the changing society of the turn. In history, United Kingdom also, and the Victorian era is the era of the Queen, and Georgian period precedes its Edwardian period after it. It is also in the constitutional of Europe also. The other Victorian literatures is when we get the term literature in our mind, we just thought of William Shakespeare, his dramas, and the printing press, and all those things just got into our mind. Victorian period loved the heroic stories, knights of an old, and they hope to regain some of that noble's courtly behavior and impresses it upon the people of the home. Some famous writers of Victorian period are Robert Browning, the Bronte sisters, Emily Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, Charles Dickens, William Wordsworth, and Lewis Carroll also. Here, Queen Victoria has quoted wonderful lines through which we can signify the importance of Victorian literature. Is this we will not have failure. Queen Victoria wants to depict that we will not have failure, but the only success and new learning. So here is the way of learning revival from starting to the old age through the Victorian era and to the present time also. The another important Victorian literature are Jane Eyre, which is written by Charlotte Bronte, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a very significant art of a novel, which is signified by the character of which also includes the science and fiction, both of them in a very depict and colloquial way. And then Charles Dickens' Bleak House, Great Expectations, and William Shakespeare's a very important and last but not the least, a Vanity Fair, a novel without a hero. These all the important characteristics, or we can say the important works of the literary period of Victorian age. Now, what is Victorian age is marked by? Victorian age is marked by the rapid growth of industry, rise of the power of the middle class. Here, the main thing which is significantly known by us is that in Victorian literature, in Victorian art or Victorian age also, the people are finding something which is very depictful or which is very weird. The middle class people were trying to focus upon their new learning, new revival of the things. They are feeling that now industrial revolution has come and we are going to have another thing in our life. So it is a positive aspect, but at the same time there are negative aspects also. Here science are reflected and literature cause the growth disillusionment in a traditional moral values. Another thing is the Victorian times. In 1837, Queen Victoria became the Queen of England. In 1837, also the first commercial electric telegraph was invented by William Cooke. And in 1838, the most significant, we can say, the rule has been done is the slavery was abolished in the Victorian era. Around 7 lakh slavers has been freed. So the year 1838 in Victorian era is the freedom, we can say it is the freedom movement or Republic Day for Independence Day for all the peoples or the slavers out there. In 1839 also the first photography was commercially introduced. Photography, telegraph, telephone, all these inventions are marked in the Victorian era. And in 1840, the first adhesive stamp was established. In 1840, Queen Victoria married his cousin. Queen Victoria married her cousin, and his name was Albert. He was the Prince of Germany. And in 1842, the first mine was established, introducing banning all the women's and children's above the age of 10 years. So the main important aspect of Victorian era is also the abolishing of slavery. Also, it has many widespread of literature also, but by the freedom of people is also as important as the other things. Here the very important thing is the Gothic painting. Gothic painting deserves the objects merely shows symbols. It shows the symbols. Here on the left side we can see the good and evil Gothic. In good and evil there is a person who is convicted upon both things. In the upper side there is God, and in the downwards there is the evil, which is making him or straining him downwards. In our personal life also we have the two devils. One, we can say our heart is equals to God and our mind is equals to devil. One is pulling our upwards and one is pulling downwards. The Gothic painting also have some important and realistic features of the age. It We can say that Gothic painting has no perspective at all, but it is, we can say that it is related with surrealism and Dadaism also. And it also includes the religious themes. The right side picture is the Gothic kitchen. If we just look at a glance over here, we just find there is a skull of a human being. But if we just deeply watch that picture, we can find that there is a woman who is sitting in her kitchen, and utensils on her table, and she is imagining herself on her own mind. And this is a picture of which can signify the way that how women or how people of that age are belonging to one and another. So all we can say that Victorian literature or Victorian period is a period that taught about the main inventions, and with the literary figures also, literary works also, the inventions are the greatest things over there. And William Somerset Maugham has also quoted one thing, that Victorian literature is the instinct of every literature, is the instinct of every literature, and we are following it as a baby. He signifies the term baby here, which is in Victorian literature there is not that much significance of the work, but it is also known by the term of Queen Victoria, and by the more inventions, by freedom of slavery also, and inventions at all. So it is a term maybe related to it, that people are not signified the literary works, but Victorian era, if we just take a glance of Victorian era, we just find more and more inventions and more revival of learning of Queen Victoria. So this was my presentation, and thank you.